But first thing is first, which is the dollar. So USD pretty flat since the week has started. Again, it's only Monday morning, so not expecting fireworks just yet, but we haven't really gone anywhere. So the key thing for me for the dollar is I'm still looking for that retracement. I'm still looking for higher prices because market's oversold. We've had a massive drop. We're taking up big lows. I do think the dollar is in need of some correction. I'm also seeing that coming to the weekly chart as well. You can see last week's candle, big wick to the downside, pull back up, close partly bullish. So that does imply that, again, that momentum we had a couple of weeks back is drying up. Possibly a bottom is forming for us to recover a little bit. So I am still looking for upside there for the dollar. You can see these are the lows that we've taken out previously. I'm looking at a couple areas for the dollar to pull back into 101.5, which is this area here roughly, or even just anywhere within the consolidation here. That would be a nice place for a short as well, which is back around 103.5, 104 roughly. So I do have areas which I want to see the dollar retrace to before I start looking for shorts again, because my long-term bias is still with the shorts of the dollar. I still do think lower prices are likely based on higher time frame price action. But looking more at the daily, the 4 hour, it does look like potentially a bit of a bottom is forming. This looks to me like an inverse head and shoulder pattern. You got the left over there, you got your head over there, and possibly your right forming. So I said in my weekly analysis, if this level can hold, I do think there could be a nice rally this week to the upside. And that could give us some retracement on the USD pairs, which I've been looking for a while. So I'm kind of hoping that happens too. But if this level doesn't hold and we do crack through, then probably we're going to see a bearish week this week and a push back to lows at that point. And probably new lows as well, to be honest, with the dollar, because the trend's just going to continue at that point. Again, if that happens, I do expect eventually us to still pull back, but maybe this is not the time. So key level here, 99.250, I'll call it. If we can hold that, I'm bullish this week for the dollar. If it does break through at some stage, then of course I will rethink things. But now I am still pretty bullish on the dollar. So taking that into consideration with euro, pretty much the opposite. So bearish on euro, looking for more downside. Again, similar pattern at play. You've got resistance over there from this level. Price manipulated that, broke through to the upside last week and crashing back down. So looking to see if we can respect that same level, hold as resistance, again giving us that head and shoulder pattern. So instead of inverse, it's just the normal regular head and shoulder pattern this occasion on euro. And of course looking for price to respect that and then see some more downside. Again, looking at the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. If I remove my drawings there, you can see last week's candle, big wick to the upside, again implying momentum is slowing down there with euro, especially since we've seen massive moves over the past 2-3 weeks there, really big move. Looks like we're topping out here, so potentially retracements on the cards. Now, where potentially could we retrace to? Well, I like this level here at 1.11, and I like this area here, basically the whole consolidation, but I want to focus more towards the high, which is around 1.095. So either one of those areas I think is relatively healthy pullback for euro for us to continue. There's still a lot of momentum in the market, so I'm not necessarily expecting a huge pullback for euro. I think we'll do a bigger one, but I don't think we'll get a huge one. So these areas do look good to me. And then, yeah, back to highs and so on and so forth. But we can speak a bit more about that when we're actually trading close to those levels. But at the moment for this week, still looking for a bit more retracement. Had a lovely bearish move last week. What I'm expecting this week is a correction of that, perhaps a test of that resistance, and then some continuation. That's what I'm looking for euro. Pound USD, same situation as well. Massive move to the upside recently, but we are struggling at highs. If we look to the left, massive level here, which did give us a pretty big swing when we were last over there. So as we can see, we're back there again. Again, for pound USD, I think there's more upside on the cards for this one longer term. I'm still liking the opportunity of a push back to 1.4. So I still think there's more upside to be had for pound USD. But of course, we're coming to resistance now. The market's a little bit stretched. I don't really want to be buying pound USD right now, not unless we get a decent pullback. And I'm looking more so near these levels. I like this level here. Perhaps we can probably wick into the 0.5. That would be nice. Or even slightly deeper around the 0.618. Nice consolidation over there. Resistance. Hopefully we turn to support. I think that would be a lovely place to go along. And hopefully take it back to highs. But of course, first things first, we need pound to actually retrace. Or at least retrace more. It has technically seen some retracement. But not enough to get me excited. So I did explain on my weekly analysis that perhaps this resistance here could be a nice short for pounds. A little bit more of an aggressive trade because we haven't broken structure. We haven't really formed any low highs really. We've just tapped into major resistance, seen a relatively nice bearish leg, and now we're kind of pushing up correctively. So there could be some shorts at this level here. I probably would be quite watchful over that trade in terms of, okay, if bullish momentum starts to kick against me, I probably will look to close that position pretty quickly because the trend's still up, momentum's still up. The only thing really going in our favor is that the market's quite stretched. We've hit a big level, so expecting retracement. But you know, that retracement could come now, it could come next week, could come in the next 3 weeks. So you don't want to be too stubborn with that type of position. Or if this level doesn't hold, perhaps we move back to the highs and potentially form a bit of a double top up there. That could be a nice trade as well. Stops above the high. Again, a bit more aggressive still trying to call the tops on the market. That is pretty bullish as well. But again, it's justified. The market's quite stretched. We're hitting a big level. You expect us to see some retracement sooner or later. But yeah, I'm not really interested with the shorts so much with pound anyway. I like the buys, but like I said, that might take a whole week for us to actually get there. That's if we get there as well. But 1.315, 1.3 levels that I like to take this higher, back to resistance. Dollar CAD, bearish again on this one. USD pairs are pretty much have the same bias across the board, which is short dollar long term. But I'm looking for some short-term strength for the dollar right now. Again, dollar CAD seems to be giving me similar vibes right now on the lower time frames. Very corrective price action on the way down. We had a lot of momentum previously, but now we're very corrective, which is a key sign of the market slowing down, fatiguing, and potentially getting ready for a bit of a pullback. Not really seeing much momentum anymore, so I do think dollar CAD is likely to push up. I did mention on the weekly analysis as well, excuse me, that we might see one more down move. Price is kind of moving quite well in this descending channel here. I wonder if we will sell off before we do buy back up. So that could be a situation there for dollar CAD. I was speaking a lot last week about this level here, as this could be a nice level to buy dollar CAD from and potentially get that breakout. Haven't really seen that happen. We did see a few nice retests of this level. So on the lower time frames, there would be some nice buying opportunities there. But no kind of real big move, at least not yet anyway. And because we haven't had that big move yet, I wonder if we're going to have one more sell first, maybe before we do start to climb back up. But again, I'm only looking at upside for dollar CAD for retracement. In terms of the bigger sells, I'm looking at the retest of this low, which is at 1.405, and also the retest of this low, if the pullback is slightly bigger, 1.415. So I like the sells here of dollar CAD, still attacking USD to the downside. But first, I do want to see some strength in the dollar and some retracement for dollar CAD there. Aussie dollar, I like this position a lot, this market a lot here. I think there's a lot of room to the upside. Kind of choppy right now, consolidating, so the current price action isn't looking great, but I feel like if we can have a bit of a drop, that could be a really nice opportunity to pick up some longs for Aussie dollar and take this higher. We came back into resistance last week, didn't go too well, price didn't manage to break through, but there are some levels below. Should we come back to retest, I would be very interested in taking some longs and seeing how far I can hold into this position. Yeah, Aussie dollar, lovely momentum, is becoming very corrective now, so it looks like it was slowing down, perhaps consolidating. So I'm looking to see if we can push down first. That would be very much appreciated. Even down here would be very much appreciated because that gives me a really nice position to hold from. But of course, beggars can't be choosers. But 0.632, 0.624 areas I'm looking at, even a breaking test of this level here if we have just a big rally this week for whatever reason. I will be interested in pullbacks there as well. But Aussie dollar, the main thing that I'm looking at is this kind of anticlimactic sell-off we had a few weeks back, followed by a massive recovery. So I'm anticipating this to be a bottom here for Aussie dollar. So I'm expecting a potential reversal on the cards here and a lot more upside longer term. And of course, that has helped with my bearish USD bias as well. So I do think there's a lot more upside to be had. So as a swing trade, I'm just looking to position myself in the best places I can find where I can hold onto a trade for a while, a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, maybe even longer than that if things go really well. Ends the USD as well. I like the bias for this one too, just needs some retracement. Again, we're looking very fatigued, very tired. You can see a lot more wicks to the upside, a lot more bearish candles coming in. So it does look like price is potentially forming a bit of a top here to retrace, which is great because that's what I've been looking for. We've got some broken resistance, which will be turn support just underneath us. If we can pull back into that area, that would be great as well. Again, same idea as Aussie dollar. Looks like price is falling a bit below. We reversed that, a lot of momentum to the upside. So looking for a correction before we do continue. And a retest of that daily level would be a great place to find some entries. So just looking for a bit more downside for NZD before I start buying it back up again. In terms of gold, yeah, gold, I still like the buys, but being a bit more cautious because this has been a pretty aggressive sell-off. I still like this area because, again, we had a lot of momentum from these two areas. So the breakout of that consolidation and the break of the high here. We had a lot of momentum when price broke through, never had the retest. So I think that's still a smart place for a long for gold. But would I be optimistic in terms of holding it all the way back to highs? Potentially. I feel like gold is a good opportunity just to trail stops and see how far price can go. It might be a situation where price comes into the level, sees a nice reaction, lasts a couple of days, and then sells off against you. If you're trading a stop loss, you probably walk away for break even or a small win. Or potentially price test the level when we had another crazy run with gold and we push back to highs. In that case, whoop-de-doo, it's a big trade there. Or of course, it could be a loser too. But I feel like buys are still a good option. We did have that head and shoulder pattern, which looks like it's playing out. So I do think we'll probably still sell off. It's just about which area would be a nice place for a buy. I'll look at both of these areas, 32.20 and 31.60. I think they both look good. And we'll see what type of reaction we get when we get there. And in terms of silver, silver again a bit more neutral on this one. Don't get me wrong, I'm still long-term bullish on silver, but I just don't really have a trade for it. I did speak about price retesting this level here. Last week. Not really respecting it well, kind of dipping below there. Did close below, so I probably wouldn't say that's a successful rejection of the level. But it looks like prices are reacting with some areas of demand in the lower time frames here, and perhaps we could see a bit of a rally. But again, my main issue with silver is that we're coming into some major areas of supply on the left here, where we had a humongous drop, and we're looking a little bit tired now. We're still seeing a lot of wicks. The market looks pretty corrective. We have one big candle over here, but nothing really amounted from that either. So this is just a very corrective move in general. And again, when you're seeing corrective moves, especially coming into some higher time frame areas of supply or resistance, typically we do get a bit of a sell-off. So it's not really the best place to position yourself long for a big swing. Of course, if you're looking for an intraday move, that's something different. But if you're looking for a big swing, which you're trying to hold for a few days, more than a week, I don't think that's the best place for a buy. I'd wait for some type of sell-off a little bit, even potentially back to support down there. And that would be a bit more of a appropriate place to look for a long-term buy, because you're closer to bullish territory, not buying directly into any danger. And if things are not going well, it probably gives you some time to get out of the way of things as well. But yeah, from an intraday perspective, I feel like there could be a bit of a rally here for silver, but yeah, we do have a lot of resistance and supply above us, so I would watch out as we come back to highs.